This is something to remember. Remember that the auxiliary verb affects the form of the next word. Again, the auxiliary verb affects the form of the next word, whether the next word is another auxiliary or a main verb. So here we have some example. If we have the auxiliary verb as a modal, if we have a modal, the modal is followed by the base form. Okay, so we can say will steal or should have worked. If we have the auxiliary have, the word have, so have must be followed by the past participle, like has gone, has been talking, have worked. If the auxiliary is verb to be, the auxiliary, when it is verb to be, it can be followed by the active participle. And by the active participle, we mean the ing form. When we say was looking or has been taking. If the auxiliary again is be, it can be followed by the passive participle if the sentence is in the passive, like were informed or had been stolen. Another thing to remember, I told you before that we can have one auxiliary or two auxiliaries or three auxiliaries before the main verb. The first auxiliary is the most important one because it is the one which is used in negative and in question. So when we have more than one auxiliary, okay, the first auxiliary is the one which is used in negatives and in questions. When we say they haven't played the video, so have here is the auxiliary, okay, and we use it in the negation. Or have they played the video? So this auxiliary again, it is used to form the question. Sometimes we can have more than one auxiliary. Okay, if we have more than one auxiliary, we use the first auxiliary in order to make negative and to form a question. When we talk about the verb phrase, we have to differentiate between action verbs and state verbs. Remember, action verbs means verbs which refer to something happening or something changing. So when we talk about action verbs, we refer to verbs which mean something happening or something changing. And these are some examples of action verbs. Do is an action verb. Go, buy, play, stop, take, decorate, stay, ask, and decide. In fact, most of the verbs in English are action verbs. In addition, we have state verbs. State verbs refer to something staying the same. There is no change. There is no action. These verbs are state verbs. Okay, these are some examples of state verbs. Adore, depend, doubt, lack, owe, seem, be, deserve, envy, like, own, understand, believe, desire, exist, love, pity, want, belong, despise, hate, matter, possess, wish, consist of, detest, intend, mean, prefer, contain, dislike, know, need, and resemble. Of course, these verbs have to be studied and memorized, okay, because they are very important. One grammatical point I want to make here is that usually state verbs are not used in the progressive tenses. For example, we cannot say I am depending on you. Okay, this is not correct. You say I depend on you. Okay. You cannot say, for example, I am owning a car. Of course, we cannot use this. You say I own a car. So these state verbs cannot be used in the continuous tenses whether in the present continuous or in the past continuous or in the present perfect continuous, any continuous tense, we do not use these verbs with. When we talk about the difference between action and the state verbs, we can have the same verb with two meanings. At one time, it can be used as an action verb, and the meaning can change if the same verb is used as a state verb. We are having lunch now. Have here is eating, and eating, the meaning of eating here means action. So this is action verb. But when we say we have a big kitchen, it means we own. This is a state verb. When we say we are thinking about moving, think about doing something, it means there is some sort of action. But when we say I think, meaning I believe, okay, this is a state. Jeff tasted the soup. Here, this is action. But the soup tasted like water. This is a state. When we say we expect trouble or we expect something, this is action. But when we say I expect so, it means I believe so. This is a state. The same can be said about imagine. Okay? And care. When we have care or care for the sex, this is action. But in this expression, we say I don't care what happens. This is a state. Look. And looking at a picture, this is action. But look lovely, this is a state, because look here means seem. Smell or smelling the powder, this is action. But smell strange, this is a state. Appear or appearing in a film, this is action. But when we say appear perfectly calm, this is a state. Measure or measuring the door, this is action. But measure 2 meters, this is a state. Weigh or weighing the luggage, action. But weight in kilos, you weigh 10 kilos. This is a state. Fit or fitting a new switch. Fit here means to fix. This is action. But to fit perfectly, when we say you fit perfectly for this position, this is a state. And this is the end of our lecture for today. But I want to remind you of the fact that you need to study this in your books. Thank you very much.